So we are recording this presentation, so hopefully people can watch it if they weren't able to attend. You are muted by default, and if we have any comments or questions, you can use the chat. Next slide. Next.
Having difficulty.
Uh-oh.
Okay, sorry about that.
I would like to introduce my coworker, Ashley Whitley, who is supporting me today. Will the slide not advance, Ashley?
No, my headphones died, so I was trying to figure out audio situation, sorry.
So today I'm going to talk about a little bit of background and history about disabilities. We'll talk about self-determination. We'll talk about making decisions and support staff. And then we'll wrap it up with what we all can do. Go ahead. So historically, you may know that society has viewed people with disabilities with the medical model that having a disability is deficient or abnormal, and that I need to be fixed. People with disabilities, it's including intellectual and developmental, been viewed as helpless or fragile, that we need to be protected, and we are at a higher risk. We are dehumanized, we have no value, and we are asexual. These are some of the stereotypes that contribute to ableism. And in a couple weeks, I'm going to tell you all you want to know about ableism. So, next slide. So the disability rights movement and the self-advocacy movement has helped change the views that society has, but unfortunately, we still have a lot of work to do. You know, this is 2021. You think we would all be accepted as people first, but it's not always the case. So the disability rights movement and the self-advocacy movement to secure equal rights for people with disabilities. In 1990, cross-disability advocates worked together to get the Americans with Disabilities Act passed. It's amazing if we go back and see some of the things we did not have before the ADA. And then the self-advocacy movement was started by people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. So the goal was to reshape society and get rid of labels. I am not my disability. I am a person. My disability is part of me, but not all of me. So go ahead, Ash. Do you want to do that one, Ashley?
Yeah, I can do this one.
Thank you.
Okay, what's team advocacy? Team stands for together everyone achieves more. A group of people speak up together and work together to make changes that help a lot of people. Team advocacy is about changing how the service system works, how the community treats people with disabilities, or how providers offer services. Sometimes people want to change things in their own personal lives. Julie, do you have anything to add to that one?
So, like I was saying, when we got the ADA passed, that was a good example of team advocacy. Go ahead. So, people with disabilities and inclusion, we want jobs that are not segregated day programs. We want inclusive schools, not special schools. I really wish I could have the power to change the terminology special education to be inclusive education. I don't like the word special. We want inclusive houses. We don't want to live in group home institutions. We basically don't want to be segregated. Inclusion is the key. Go ahead. So, getting a life that you want, it can be scary. I have to tell you, 25 years ago, when I got involved in self-advocacy, I was not able to speak in public like this, believe it or not. It took a lot of practice, and it took people who are non-disabled to believe in me. And before self-determination and self-advocacy, I used to apologize to get help, to get support. But I learned everyone needs support. Everyone needs help. If you're disabled or non-disabled. So people want the life they want and to be in control. A person may want a new job, different services, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a new place to live, or something else. But only you know what is best for you. And I always tell people, even if you have a disability, you don't have to be like the number one self-advocate. You can just live the life that you want. But I chose to be a trainer and to help educate others. So, but I have a lot of friends with disabilities who just live the life that they want. So, you are your own expert. Go ahead. So now we're gonna hear Jessica's story.
We just wanted to let everybody know just because you have a disability doesn't mean you're less than, or you don't know, or you're not committed to something. So it's a really wonderful thing, and if anybody could get in a self-advocate or some type of group, I would suggest that you do so.
And then we are going to watch another clip from another self-advocate, Max.
people do have strong bonds in self-advocacy. Strong bonds really strengthen self-advocacy. People learn from each other, and through that they discover strengths when it comes to speaking up that they were not aware of when they were, younger or before they even got involved in self-advocacy. It's the case with me. There were times where I was, shy to speak up. And also through what people have seen of me, when I do speak up, they have said, you could do this. I think you can do that. And it's just that kind of interaction within a relationship, like when somebody has confidence in you, it really does play a role in how strong the relationships are between you and that person. And when people, connect, it also gives you strength to have the confidence or to build the confidence to make decisions that could be hard. And also too, it can be used as a method in a supported decision making, because sometimes, peers use each other to, to get support, to make big decisions. They look to each other sometimes if they need to, or, they have to.
Like Ashley said, that was Max Barrows, and you all know Max. I know he came to your conference the year before I did. My coworker, Cherie Smith, has joined us. Hey, Cherie.
Hi, sorry I'm late. I got the time zone wrong. Of course I did. I've been doing that a lot. So, sorry I'm late, but I am here.
It's okay. Ashley, do you have the PowerPoint? Who was that? Okay, so we're gonna move on. We wanted to try to have some discussion about what people thought about the video and what does it say about being in charge. I think what Matt said is that you can look to your peers to get advice. I know to get the life I wanted when I decided to have children, I went to some of my peers with disabilities who already had kids and got their advice. And then now I'm able to give others advice who want to have children. I'm not saying everybody wants to have children. It's the hardest job, but the best job in the world. So let's go on to the next slide, Ashley. Cherise, do you want to pick up here?
Absolutely. So to get the life you want, you must speak up for yourself, even though that might seem scary. It's very scary when you're having people who may not agree with what you want or might not want to give you that independence. It's scary to say what you want for yourself. Speaking up can make you, but speaking up for yourself can make you feel more powerful and make you feel more in control of your life. Staff are supposed to work with you, not for you. Supposed to work for you. So I always tell people, don't talk at me, talk with me, talk to me. And that's very important for staff to do those things, because it's supposed to be an exchange. If you don't speak up if you don't speak up, other people will trample your rights, know your rights. So if you don't speak up for yourself, people will just do whatever they want. They will invite themselves to make decisions for you if you don't speak up for yourself. And you have to know, I have a right for whatever life I want as an adult, with whether I have a disability or not. Find a group or other people with disabilities who can support you. I think Julie made a great point when she was talking about how when she was ready to be a parent, she talked to other people with disabilities. When I wanted to move out on my own, I went to an independent living center and I spoke with another advocate whose job I eventually took over after he left. I talked to him. He was a wheelchair user and he taught me about living on my own. He told me about flying. I had never flown before I met him. And he told me what to expect. So I got, great advice and support from him. And he walked me through those things that were scary, like living on my own, flying alone, and traveling alone. He talked me through those things that I was really afraid to do. But I knew if he could do it, I could do it too, because he was also a wheelchair user. He also had a disability. And so I knew he knew better than somebody without a disability to help support me.
And Sharice, it was a little scary, right? Moving out on your own.
Oh, it was terrifying. When I traveled on a plane for the first time, I went to New York City. Never been out of the state, never had been out on an airplane. I had been to Memphis, but Memphis really to me isn't out of the state. I had never been on an airplane, never had been out of the state. And I went by myself to New York City and I was petrified. I got so sick and stayed up all night, but I did it because it was a goal that I had. And I had to get past that fear.
I just want to remind people what I said earlier. It's up to you what you want to do with your life. You are your own expert.
You're your own expert. That's a great point, Julie. You're your own expert, and what's good for me might not be good for you. I know I wanted to live alone. You might say I want to live with a roommate and have a friend that keep me company. Whatever is comfortable for you, and what's good for me as a person with a disability is not always good for other people. So you have to know what's good for you and make those decisions. Yeah. One of my coworkers is famous for saying, if you've met one person with a disability, you've met one person with a disability, and that is so true.
Yeah.
And you have to make a personal action plan. If you're going to do something like living on your own, traveling, have a relationship, be more social, you need to create a plan so that you can do it. And that's everybody, whether you have a disability or not. You want to create a plan so that you can do it and be successful at it. So.
Yeah, let's show them what it looked like, Sharice.
Awesome, let's go.
Go ahead,
Actually, next slide. So this is an action plan. So your first step is to decide what is wanted or needed clearly and simply. You don't have to, you want to take your goals and your plan in small chunks. If you do it where it's too big, I want to own my own house. If you do it in too big of chunks, it can be scary and overwhelming. Julie, I don't know about you, but when I think of something that's a big decision, I have to take it in small chunks and say, okay, I know I want to buy a house, but my smaller goal may be I want to save a down payment of $1,000. And that seems a little less, it's overwhelming, but it's a little less overwhelming than I want to buy a house. Mm-hmm. What needs to be done? So I need to once I've created my goal, I don't know, I want to travel to Europe. So what needs to be done? and I need to make a list of all the things that need to be done in small pieces and by when. If you say, oh, I want to travel to Europe, that could be anytime, but if you set a goal or a deadline as to when, you can hold yourself accountable. You can say, I know I have a responsibility, because if I have a goal, I also have a responsibility in living my own life. What can I afford? I can't afford to go to Europe. Maybe I can afford to, maybe I can afford to do something else, and work our way up. How much, if I want to save for this big trip, what money can I afford out of my paycheck or out of my money every time I get my check in order to reach my goal? And then who can help? I've never traveled out of the country. I think Julie has. Julie knows. So I could ask Julie for some support and some help. I might want to talk to a travel agent.
Yeah.
I use a wheelchair, so I might want to look and see and talk to somebody who has used a wheelchair, who has traveled out of the country. And so I want to get those things set up so that my goal can be reached and I can be successful and I can have the least amount of struggle. And remember, things may change along the way. Just because you start off with a goal or with a plan, plans are meant to change. Plans change. I don't care what the best intentions. I have plans all the time, and all the time they have to be changed and altered because maybe it's not the best decision for me anymore. It might have started off with a good plan and a good decision, but and it's okay to change your mind. So maybe you decide, I don't want to do that anymore. I want to do something else that's a little less scary. I want to do something that's not so big. So I want to go to California instead of Europe. So I'm in the country, so it's a little less overwhelming, but I still get to travel. I'm just saying that because I really enjoy travel, as long as I don't have to drive in a car. So,
And you can use the action plan for anything. You can use the action plan to clean out the garage.
absolutely.
I need to do all that.
Yeah, you can do an action plan for anything. Maybe you want to clean out, like Julie said, clean out your closet. And then, which, like Julie, she needs to clean out her garage. I really need to clean out my closet. So maybe that thing is I need to separate my clothes and get my winter clothes out. Maybe it's I want to do it by the end of the week, and then maybe I can afford to get some storage things and some organizers. So that's what I can afford, and maybe I can get, since I don't drive, I can get my family and friends support to get the clothes I can't use anymore or don't want anymore, so that they can donate them to Goodwill. So,
and I just wanted to give props to the people first of Washington State. They created the action plan. It's part of the curriculum, Reaching My Greatness. So,
and this was created 20-something years ago, Julie.
oh yeah, long time. We're telling our age.
We are, but it's still, but my point is, it's still good. It still works.
Yeah.
It still works,
Yeah.
And-
Okay, let's go on next. Ashley, this is you.
So roadblocks, like I said, when you get a plan and you have every intention, you're gonna face roadblocks. Things, a roadblock is something that will get in your way or deter you or get in your way from you reaching your goal. And it can be almost anything. Next slide. The important thing is, if your roadblock is maybe I got sick, or maybe I didn't have enough money, or whatever, it's important to take it one step at a time. You can't jump from A to Z. in an action plan. You have to do it in steps. It can be a pain, but you have to take it one step at a time to do your action plan and work your plan. Next. This is a great line that me and Julie love to use, and it says, the shortest distance between you and your goals is never a straight line. So that's what roadblocks are. It's never going to be as easy or a straight line. Life is full of amazing detours, and we all have goals. My goal in life was to be an attorney from the time I was a little girl until I got to college, and they told me what I would have to do in order to be an attorney, and I said nuts to that. But I still, the aspects I love about wanting to be an attorney, I get from being an advocate. I love arguing. I love proving a point. I love helping others. I like fighting for justice. So I still get to do those wonderful things without having to do 10 years in college or 15 years in college and then have to take a test to get out of college. So that worked for me. There's nothing wrong with being an attorney. I know some great ones. My mother actually works for a judge. So what your plans, but my plan changed. And I'm so happy it did, because I've met amazing people like everyone on this call, Julie, who is one of my dearest and closest friends, Ashley, people who I never would have met if I'd have became an attorney. So next.
So, thank you, Sharice.
Okay.
So you can do it. You can learn to speak up about your dreams and your goals and get the right support. This is what helped me. When I got involved in self-advocacy, I got the right support. I got people who believed in me. And sometimes as people with disabilities, even the people we love, our family cannot always be supportive. My dad told me I would never be able to drive. And so when I was in college, I met this guy who said he would help me learn how to drive. And that was one of my goals. And so he did. He helped me learn how to drive. And eventually I got my driver's license. And me and Sharice used to work together at Arkansas People First, and we would drive all over the state. So it was so nice to have somebody to believe in me. So, and eventually I ended up getting married to that guy. So that all worked out.
And I think it's important, her dad didn't believe she could do it, but it didn't mean he didn't love her. I don't want to speak for her dad because I never met him, but I'm sure he wanted to protect her and all of that. And he was well-intentioned, but misguided, So, and I would have never gotten into self-advocacy if I had not met other people with disabilities who were like me and had my experiences, and I saw them doing the work they did. Because I have an older brother who has cerebral palsy, and he's 2.5 years older than me, and he has nothing to do with self-advocacy. He wants no part of it. And
that's okay, but to me,
it's absolutely okay. But it was something I wanted to do, but I had nobody to reference and how to do that. So I met people like Julie, who was already in the movement, who could guide me through that. And those who said, well, maybe it's not such a good idea, I said, well, here's somebody who's doing it and is successful at it. And that really helped me.
Yeah. So you can do it if you come together and work together. And like I said earlier, support others to make their lives better. I don't want to talk about support staff a lot, but me and Sharice can tell you that we have seen with our own eyes support staff having power over people. And that's not what we want. We want power to get together. We want them to support us and give us the information to make our own decisions. I think Ashley is a great example of working together. We respect one another, even if we don't always agree. So, Sharice, do you want to say any more about support staff helping people have the life they want?
I think it's important for support staff to know that you have to, you're there for what your intention is to support, is not to lead, is not to make decisions for. You are there to support a person with a disability in the life that they want. And you know, they're not your children, they're not in your care. So, you know, your only job is to support them in reaching their goals and to be there for them for that. So yeah.
And like I said, give people information, you know? So because in the beginning, it's hard to make decisions. And if we don't have the information, that's even harder. And don't forget to have fun. We always have fun, right, Sharice?
Yes, like I always say, life is a beautiful disaster. So just have some fun, you know. This is what life is about. It's okay to, you know, like I said, it's a beautiful thing, but it's, you know, it is what it is.
Okay, next slide, Ashley. Oh, I jumped the gun. I jumped ahead a little bit. We all need the right support. We just talked about this. So, and we ask, get rid of silly rules. There are a lot of silly rules, like, but if people live in the group home, they have to go to bed at a certain time. I mean, I have 2 teenagers and they want to stay up till 3 o'clock in the morning, but I had to say, you know, you can do what you want, but you have to be responsible and get up and go to school. So, anyway, I think we already talked about the right support.
Yeah,
Do you have anything to add, Sharice?
I want to point out, it says providers need to support each person individually.
Yeah.
You're not, you know, I think so many times when you work with a lot of people with disabilities, you want to treat them all the same and support them all the same. And what supports work for Julie as a person with a disability is not going to help me as a person with a disability. Me and her need 2 totally different types of support. And I think it's important that you treat people not like cases but like individuals. And so that's
Yeah,
it.
we're not a flat, we're not a number. So, good point, Sharice. And once you make one person move, cerebral palsy. You met one person. We're all different. Like she said earlier. Next slide. How are we doing on time? We're doing good. Oh, I love this video.
This is a good video.
I have to say there are a couple of cuss words that I think we're all adults. This is a great example of the stereotypes that people have about people with disability.
And if it offends you, you might want to mute.
Ashley, take it away.
Hi Stephen, you ready to go?
Hey, Elsie, how are you?
Good,
to
thanks,
see you.
how are you?
Oh, I didn't know you.
I'm Stephen. And she supports me.
Elsie, you're such an angel to be doing this work. You must be so patient. Well done anyway, yeah? I'll see you later, okay?
What's that about?
Well, some people seem to think there's something special about supporting people with disabilities just to do the same things that everyone else does.
Oh, how interesting. I really need some toilet rolls.
Should we go to the shop before we go to the cinema?
Yeah.
Hello, young man. You've been doing your shopping? Well done you. What have you got?
Toilet rolls.
Wow, you have bought your own toilet rolls. You must feel so proud of yourself. You are an inspiration. I am so inspired by you.
Is this for real?
I just think some people find it hard to understand that people with disabilities can do things independently.
For fuck's sake.
Well, really, I do not think that sort of language is appropriate.
Sorry?
I don't think it's appropriate for someone like you to use language like that. It's not appropriate.
Explain that one to me.
When you have a disability, especially a visually recognisable one like Down syndrome, I think sometimes people see you as an eternal child and they see you doing things like drinking alcohol, smoking, swearing, and they just get upset about it.
Well, that's fucking weird.
How are you?
Okay, thanks. 2 tickets to Born Again, please.
Born Again, that'll be £7.
Stephen's paying.
Oh, right. £7. Thank you. Here's your £3 change.
That's my money, my change.
Right, sorry. Okay, so that's £1, £2, and that's £3 change in total. Keep that safe, okay? Here's your 2 tickets. Oh, here's your tickets, okay? Well done. Enjoy the film. Oh, wait, guys, did you manage to get your van into the disabled parking space?
I don't drive.
Don't you hate it when people use those spaces when they don't need them?
No, we walked.
Oh, look, there he is.
Hi, Steve.
All right.
See you guys later.
Not come on.
Yeah, let's go see the movie. What a day.
Bad day, honey?
There's some strange people out there. Cheers.
Cheers.
Am I allowed to drink this?
Yeah, why not?
Cheers.
So now we wanted to have some discussion about what you thought about the video, and anybody can comment. And what does it say about being in charge? Yeah. Yes, can Morgan unmute Doug and make a comment? Go ahead.
I personally was shocked by some of the people's reactions to him doing the normal things that we all do. It's like, you know, he's just like you and me, going on a shopping trip, going to the movies.
Yeah.
That was kind of like, whoa, you know, that's a bit too much. I mean, he's just being independent. That's what we're supposed to do.
Yeah. Thank you. That's a good comment. Did you see anything else there's a lot of things that bothered me in that video? Anybody else?
It really bothered me the way that people spoke for him or spoke to other people instead of speaking directly to him. And unfortunately, I think it is a realistic view of how some people do act. I did want to quickly say that I've seen this a couple times and I love that guy because it's just so on target, and I wish more people could see that.
Yeah. Did you see how the guy reacted when he bought the toilet paper? He called him an inspiration.
Which, you know, people in the disability community, we call it inspiration porn because they said they you know, they think, oh, that person with the disability got dressed all by themselves and it's so amazing. And it's like, it really isn't. I've known Julie for a long time, and we and Julie both have a disability, and I think and like I said, she's one of my dearest friends, and she's not that special. I'm gonna be honest with you. There's a lot of great qualities about her. Her disability ain't one of them. And her driving, oh my God. But you know, she's not special. She really isn't. She's a lovely woman, but she ain't special because of her disability. And I think there's a TED Talk with
Stella. Yeah.
Stella, where she talks about, I am not your inspiration, you know. And
I think we showed that series in one of our presentations.
Oh, okay.
In the future. Yeah.
But she, you know, just because I work or just because I live on my own does not make me an inspiration. It makes me just like anybody else.
Just because we get out of bed in the morning.
Yeah.
And we don't get out of bed.
Yeah.
Ashley, I know you have a lot of good points about what you saw. Do you want to share?
Yeah, before I share, I know Melissa had a point she wanted to make about the video. Melissa, would you like to go now?
Thank you. I'm sorry.
Yes, it really made me mad that Stephen, he gave the money to the person that was working at the movie theater, and then she tries to give it to his support person.
Yeah.
I mean, really? And then she grabs his hand and says, take good care of it. What's up with that?
I don't know. I don't know about West Virginia, but I have seen that a lot when staff take people shopping and they go to the checkout. The cashier will talk to the staff instead of the people with disabilities. And so what we need staff to do is exactly what that woman, you know, it's Stephen's money or it's Stephen is paying, you know.
And I know me and Julie have both encountered this is when we're at restaurants and they'll turn to the person that we're with and they'll say, well, what are they having?
Yeah.
You know, and yeah, Morgan, same kind of expression you had. That's my exact thought.
One time I went out to dinner after I did a training with one of my colleagues, and I told her I was gonna buy because she was only gonna have a bowl of soup. So the waitress forgot to bring me my salad, and I already told the waitress I was buying, you know, to give me the check. But the waitress went to my friend and whispered in her ear and said, I forgot her salad, so I'm not gonna put it on the check. And my friend was like, why are you telling me? You need to tell her, you know? So, Ashley?
Yeah, in the video, one thing that always stands out to me, and Melissa kind of talked about it a little bit when the movie theater person grabs Steven's hand. All through the video, that happens where people touch him without his consent. And that's always the thing that really bothers me, is how often people feel like they have kind of the ability to touch him without his consent, or not even in a space where touching needs to happen.
Yeah.
It looks like Dee Dee has a comment too.
Okay.
I was going to say that in all the years that I've been involved with people with IDD, that one of the things that you run into is that whole thing about, oh, you're such a good person for doing that work. And it's a hard thing to know how to respond. Often my response is well, it's not for everybody, but you know, it suits me perfectly, and just leave it, because it's just hard to respond, especially if you're standing there with, you know, a friend with a disability. But the other thing we run into, or I have, is over nurturing staff. Like you said, these folks are not their children. And a few years ago at People First Conference, I had a staff who was very caring, but she was walking around holding hands with the person she was working with. And I finally said, look, you can guide him by his elbow or stop him if you're concerned he's going to, you know, stumble over a curb. But the only other people here holding hands are a married couple and a boyfriend and girlfriend. If you look around, it's not appropriate, just because you're old enough to be his mom, that you walk around with this adult man holding hands. And she was pretty offended, but it's something she needed to understand, that it was not okay. You know, it wasn't okay for him and his independence, and it just gave the wrong vibe.
Thank you, Dee Dee. That's an excellent point. And I feel that people start doing that in the school system, in special ed. I have seen it where they get grab people by the hand, or they grab them by the wrist, and they pull them where they want them to go. And so then when they become in an adult situation, people continue to do it. It really drives me bananas, you know?
I had a really quick point that I wanted to make related to what Sharice said, and I don't want to veer off topic, but one of the problems that I have in getting funding is that it really is bothersome to me the way people utilize people with disabilities to get funding for supports for services. And I struggle with that, and I'd rather not have money than to go to that extreme that some people go to.
Agreed.
I agree too, Liz. I know I know many people with disabilities, you know, who don't get to go on vacation or don't get to do certain things because of their limited budget. But then you have these CEOs that are making bukus of money in the name of disability. And not that they don't do a good job, but I wish there was some way to have more equality. So,
Yeah, it's almost like using the person as a disability as a token. Like if I have this person with a disability on my staff or on my grant or whatever, I know I can get the funding because it'll look good, not because I feel that they're a valuable member of a team.
yeah. But you all on the call on the Zoom are great allies, so you can help. And Didi, I'm trying to think of what I would say to someone who said that to me. Ashley, you've heard that before. It's so good of you to work with those people. What do you say, Ashley?
Well, I really liked what Dee Dee had to say, but usually I kind of just reframe it as like everyone has their calling. And I mean, I had that experience too when I moved to teach kindergarten as well. Like people were, and I'm like, well, if you think so highly of these professions, then maybe you should pay us more.
Are there any other comments before we move on? About the money, I don't know if that Sharice, but because of my cerebral palsy, if I'm shopping by myself, I have to set my wallet on the counter and then get the cash out. And I have had people over and over and over try to grab my cash. I have to say, I can do it. Stop, I can do it. Oh gosh. Anyway. So.
And that's another consent thing, Julie. People are touching an extension of your money without asking you if they can do that. So that's again against without your consent.
Yeah, that I didn't think of it like that. Yeah, you're right.
I was sharing with Julie and Ashley earlier this week how I was hurt in an airport because someone didn't listen to what I said about the supports I needed, and I was seriously injured. And so it's better to listen to the person with disability because they know better than anybody.
Yes. Yeah.
And I'd rather me hurt me than you hurt me.
I did that for you. We both wobble and they do fall down.
Yeah, we've learned how to fall down. Exactly. Julie, that's a great point.
Okay, let's go on. We have about 4 more minutes. So we just want our voices to be heard, to give us the freedom and choice and the chance to control our own lives. And as a parent, I know it's hard. My son just turned 18 last Saturday, and he is milking it for all it is. Let's go on, Ashley. Sharice, you want to read this one?
Okay, so in the end, we all want to be leaders in our lives. We all want to be in charge of our lives. I don't care who you are. Many of us are learning to take charge of our lives. You know, it's a process after you've been oppressed so much and told, you're not in charge, being told what to do and being put into compliance. We're all learning every day how to be more in charge of our lives. We need the right supports and information to succeed. It's hard to succeed if you don't have the right supports and information that you need to be successful. And are we all willing to work together for change? We should all, people with disabilities and people without disabilities, we need to work together in order to be examples and models for other people. We want to model the behaviors that we want to see. If I want to show people with disabilities how to be independent, I need to be independent as well, so I can model that behavior. If I'm gonna have somebody without a disability supporting me with something, they need to model the behaviors that we want to show the world so that more people will catch on.
Yep. Next slide, please. So, thank you, West Virginia, for having us. And if you have any other questions that you didn't get to ask, feel free to email me and Sharice. And see you in the next week.
Yep.
I think.
Yep, next week.
Yep. Any last burning comments?
I just want to say thank you, Julie and Sharice. This was excellent, and I really feel like it was timely. So thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us. I'm always glad when I can inform other people. So
yeah, we need our allies. We need to stick together. So okay.
Thanks to all three of you. It was great.